Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. And I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Gate Expectations Yu-Gi-Oh! Podcast. Welcome everybody to the Gate Expectations Podcast, where I bring in a weekly guest, talk all things Yu-Gi-Oh! And get to know a little more about each person I talk to. It's the only Yu-Gi-Oh! Podcast that is run by a full-fledged journalist such as myself. This is episode 41. If you haven't checked it out yet, you can check out earlier podcasts with guests like Crush Cards, Ruggles, Yassine, Pack, Distant Coder, and many more. My guest for this week is one of the top Dutch players of the game. He has a YouTube channel with over 2,700 subs with 3 top 16 Dutch national championships. It's Marjin van Duivenboden, aka Tatsym. Thank you so much for coming on to the podcast.
Yeah, no problem. I'm actually happy to be here. Let's go.
So let's start with your YouTube channel, because you didn't started not too long ago. Like, I know you had like a video like roughly several years ago, but it was just like a video game footage real quick. But you really didn't start getting more serious into your channel about roughly 2 years ago. So why don't you just tell me about what's your YouTube channel all about?
So you want me to talk like at the start or what it's like at now?
Just, let's walk through the whole entire process of your YouTube channel starting from 2 years ago,
right.
like your first YouTube, your first Yu-Gi-Oh! YouTube video up until now. Yeah.
All right. So ever since I was a kid, I always dreamt about having a YouTube channel. There is some gaming content on here. There used to be a lot more, but that's all deleted. Then 2 years ago, my very first video was Regional Elst, first place Eugene Valding Sky Striker. I don't really know why or how, but I just decided let's do some deck profiles because it's interesting. I don't really know why I started with Eugene. Specifically, he's a friend of mine, of course. We were in the same team for the longest, but I don't really know why I started it. I think I just wanted to put it out or just get like starting. Like, it's very difficult to like start doing something, right? It's like a lot of mental blockages, at least what I have. Like, for example, everyone wants to learn how to play the guitar, right? But there's not a lot of people that actually start with it because it's just like this huge gap you have to cross. And I think that this was just like, let's just do it, because that's how I usually do it. Then we had some Duel links. This is the only Duel links video in my channel. Bart Patru, who will come back later in the history of the channel. It's a very, very big point. This was the Dutch Open. I'm a tournament organizer myself as well. I've been organizing tournaments for 7 years. And this was my organized tournament. I had a full suit on and everything because it was the Dutch Open. There were like 100 people. And I did get the opportunity to get the first place deck profile. I also did a metagame breakdown, just like Lithium usually does. This was just kind of to test out the waters. I haven't really done deck profiles of anyone else before, like the Dutch Open. And then the memes begin. So the 5th video is where it's actually all starting. So you want to play sub there, just the most... It's a video. This is the first video that I actually had a direction and had something to say. This is a huge tryout. My mic settings are all weird. My tone of voice is all weird. The video is not the best. If I would make this right now, it would not be 30 minutes, 38 minutes. It would be like 10 minutes maybe. But it was just the first actual commitment I had. This was just the first big project. I wanted to learn this stuff. I wanted to do this stuff. And it was just like the start. And then I got lucky. I got really, really, really lucky. I went 9-2 with Subter at YCS London of 2019. I got 43rd place with Subter, and that was not top cut, so this wasn't actually a YCS top, even though I have the score to get a top. There were a lot of people, but not enough to go into the top 32 instead, or the top 64 instead of top 32. So I got 43rd. Lithium Stephen, who's a big friend of mine, was there doing deck profiles, and I asked him, so all the other decks are boring. You want to have my deck profile? He said, sure. Simo was there as well, because Simo is just there. And he said, sure, let's just do it. They were like sitting together, having like both the content, easy, free money, right? And they both did my deck profile on their channel. And then they allowed me to say, like, come to youtube.com/Tatsym and find me there and have a detailed deck profile. This is one of the best deck profiles I have on the entire channel. We decided to, so me and the boys that were there, we decided to make a mark. So we had like the best hotel. So the entire intro of the video is me talking about the event and just flexing out our entire room. So I walk out of the bathroom and I like walk around our entire hotel, and Suffer White Joe Sum, who is my main cameraman, was filming me around, and we were just like memeing around with this. I'm still wearing the same vest. This is actually very awkward.
You actually have like the journalism pose and the journalist walk actually when you came out of that bathroom. A lot of journalists, when we do like a lot of the videos when we're out like in the field and whatnot, we would like do some creative stuff that like when we're walking and talking. Some people don't like to just sit there and stand. So the way you walked, I kind of like the way you kind of came out there, really reminiscent of work that I have done in the past with that kind of walk that you did.
Yeah, we just wanted to make a mark. You can do X deck profile of X deck, but that's boring, right? Who cares? Yeah. So we wanted to do something fun, and this was like over the top fun, cool stuff. So we did this, and this was like this is where everything started. It's actually a pretty well viewed video as well. People laughed about it. It was really funny, but that's all like memorable stuff. So this is where the channel really grew. This is where I entered in my personality and tried to make something out of it that isn't like just garbage or something. So yeah, this is just where it started. The boost that Simo and Lithium gave me was enough to like kickstart the channel and get like some following. And this video helped a lot too, because it was just so funny and my friends were dabbing in the background. Jesus Christ. It's 2019, it's okay. Yeah. This is just where we started. We have like the entire London view on the background, and we go here and my deck is laying on the table already. Yeah, I miss this hotel room so much. And this is just kind of where it all started for me. After that, I really had no direction, because the meme gimmick idea was we're going to be a sub-tier channel, but who figured this is the most boring content ever? You're not going to, like, it's super difficult to fill your channel with one deck. It's just not doable. You can't do that. So we were like memeing a little bit. We got some more tops, but this was back when there were regionals and otherwise yeses. And at a certain point, it just transformed from like guru deck profiles to like weekly deck profiles and like series in between. And then an Emancipator came out, which helped a lot. And Suffer White Joe also wanted to commit a lot. And we just kind of made it our thing, and we just rolled with it. And at a certain point, we were just like, okay, we're going to pump out. We're going to focus on competitive content. That's what I always wanted to do. And yeah, there was just like a lot of sub-tier in the past, but at a certain point we were like, we're going to focus on competitive, we're going to focus on deck lists. I'm just like done going to YouTube. Oh, what is this deck? I want to play this. Look it up and have like 5 builds that are incorrect before maybe finding one niche one that could be okay. So I figured I would put in the hard work and just do it for them. So yeah.
Well, it sounds like that you're pretty much forever linked with the deck of sub-tiers, and you go back to it now and then on your channel. Is there anything that you could do now with the sub-tier deck in like today's meta, considering you go back to it here and there throughout your channel?
I played it last week at the Benelux Extravaganza. I played it at the Giant Card because I thought, let's flip floodgates. That sounds a lot like fun. I went 3-0, then I got called by work to go to work, so I couldn't finish my run. But it's
I read that deck profile.
Like the meta is entirely super slow right now, and it will always like speed up and then slow down, speed up and then slow down, which is what it has been doing for the last couple of years. And it's really slow right now, so you could just like play around it. After the Lightning Overdrive set releases, it will still be pretty slow. So sub-tier is definitely great. But yeah, people always like, oh, you're the sub-tier guy, you're the sub-tier guy, you're the sub-tier guy. Like, I played it last week, and the last time I played it before that was like over half a year ago. Like, I have like a lot of my credentials are not with sub-tiers. Yeah. Everyone just reminds me that like that. But yeah, that's just kind of the meme where it started. After that, I got like help from a designer with my thumbnails, and we started to take things more serious. And then we went to weekly uploads, and then we had like local deck profiles. That was really cool because COVID hit, of course, and like after a while, the stores were gonna open back up again. So I had the entire genius idea of just filmed deck profile of the local winner every time because it's a video or two a week if I go to two locals. And I can just feature interesting decks from interesting players because there are so many good players around the Netherlands, like Joshua Oosters, Rafael Neve, more players. Like, there's a lot of people that are like already being recognized on the internet. Uh, and I just thought that that would be great, and that helped a lot. That gave me a lot of following too, like just random deck profiles. And that's what we are still doing. We actually, yesterday's video was back to locals season 2 because we are finally getting back to locals in the Netherlands since things are opening up a little bit more. So that's definitely comeback. But without like back to duels, it has been quite hard for like video content. So we had to get creative. So there's a lot of new stuff on the channel now. But I'm really happy because it's kind of more into a medium. Not really sure what the word is. It's getting more to a medium than only just like a channel. It's not only more about me, but it's still about me. Like there's something for everyone, and there's like a lot of different angles to my videos, which is something I really like. You have other creators, you have other people, you have deck lists, you have gameplay videos, you have meme videos, you have just stuff about me, my competitive journey. There's just so much direction, and I really like that.
Well, I know one thing that you've been doing lately with your channel, which I've really been enjoying watching, is when you start to duel other content creators as well. Because we see a lot of content creators that maybe not actually like play the game directly. They might just like talk about the game, maybe have like a fun little gimmick duel here and there. But I actually don't see a lot of these players actually like duel with like current meta decks today, and that's kind of what you're bringing to the table with your YouTube channel. Is that fair to say?
Yeah. There's like one thing about a lot of requests I get when I post a deck list. It's just people asking, how do I play this deck? And first of all, teaching someone how to play a deck is like impossible because there's like always variables in Yu-Gi-Oh! So I wanted to do some form of gameplay, but it's very difficult to get someone to sit down on a 40-minute video. That's just insanely difficult. People don't do that. That's just the reality. There are a small group of niche people that do it. So I've been you've seen me on Twitter. I've been like talking to a lot of other people there as well, and at a certain point I was just like, okay, I just want to do it. Like what I talked about earlier. Let's just do it. Let's just do an episode. So I sat down with TCG Tally, which is oh, am I gonna say the correct word? He's one of the two. Ireland. Ireland is not next to the UK, right? Ireland is the islands, right?
Oh god, yeah. I'm pretty sure Ireland is its
all right, he's
its own
Irish.
spot.
Oh my god, I actually butchered.
Oh god.
I have no clue. He's a content creator from somewhere to the left of England. He's a really cool guy, and we played on the Mokuba League as well, so it was kind of cool to have like something recurring. That went pretty well. People really liked it. It was just Scotland. He's Scottish. I don't know, man. Countries are difficult. I'm just confusing everything right now. So we sat down, and it was really cool. It was just like me learning how to do this and like learning how to make the video, getting like a skeleton build of doing stuff. Then like a couple of days later, I was on Distant Coder stream, and he wanted some help, and we knew each other already, so I helped him out. And after that, I just sent him a message like, "Yo, I don't know if you're free next week, but we could just duel. Do you want that?" And he was like, "Yeah, sure." So then I got Distant Coder on, which is a huge content creator.
Yeah,
and,
he's
1 week later, on Twitter, Nim was asking for secret tour guides. I had secret tour guides, so I messaged him, and he also knew me for some reason, which is kind of weird because I'm still getting used to the idea of people knowing me. But I was just like, yo, man, if you want to, you can also just like come to my first series. And he was like, yeah, sure, let's do that next stream. Okay, then I got Nim. Nim apparently is here now on. Don Juan joined the Discord server as well, and then Don Juan and I were talking about deck lists, and at a certain time I was like, yeah, I want to do other content creators too, and I was like, me too. Why don't you duel me? So then Don Juan got on. And I've played Sarah a bunch of times, so that was only natural. And the idea of the Versus series is to like give a lot of people um, a platform to talk and speak and play on. Like for example, Don Juan, people know Don, but like, they don't really know him that well. So it was nice to give him like something to play on. Fifth Rate was on my channel before, and she's like she's an amazing player and like an amazing friend. So it was only natural for her to return. So she didn't necessarily need the platform, but it was fitting for the series. And for Nim Nim and Coder, yeah, I'm gonna be honest with you, that's just getting hyped for the series, right? That's
Yeah, I mean that's
everyone
kind of
knows
what it
Nim
is.
Nim. Yeah, so it's a little bit for me getting to work with bigger content creators and just playing the game, because it's also about showing the decks, because a lot of the decks that I play on here are featured on the channel. So that circles around back to the question of people asking, how do I play the deck? I show them how to play the deck in this interesting way against interesting people. So that's also part of the strategy. Yeah, that's just the versus here. So it's like, actually, this is just all decks that I've featured before on my channel that are being played out against content creators.
Do you showcase every single deck that you play against these content creators on your channel itself too?
Either I show it off or it has been shown off already. Okay. So for Fifth Rate, I played her invoked list. So it was just her list, which was on my channel. For Don Juan, I played Dragon Link Buster Blader, which is a deck that I featured 2 weeks earlier. For Nim Nim, I did play Sky Striker, which was a deck that I haven't featured, but I made a video about that because people wanted to see that. For Coder, it was Drytron, and I'm pretty known for playing Drytron at this point. And for Taddy, it was Phantom Knights, which was literally the upload of 2 days before that.
That was actually one deck I did want to talk to you about, because that's one of the anticipated decks to make its return is Drytron with Lightning Overdrive coming out soon, getting its new XYZ cards. So, but you've already done a couple features about the deck already, like one with the locals, which I already saw with the Fairy Drytrons, and then you did a combo guide before that. What do you think about Drytrons after they get the new set out with the new support?
So Drytrons is a pretty interesting deck, right? It takes a mechanic and it flips the mechanic on its head. And we've seen the first initial version at triple Benton, and of course Benton is now at 1. So Benton getting limited is like huge for the dynamics of the deck. So even though it works now, it's just a very different way. Like the way I play it, and I think that is the only way to play it, is not playing fairies at all anymore. Because Benton is gone, so there are just not much fairies in the game anymore that are nice. But now you get Diviner, and Diviner is a fairy. Diviner is actually one of the most broken cards ever in history if you think about it. It's a level 2 normal summon that sends a card from your extra deck, so basically Herald, the search one. Then she becomes level 6, so she gains the level, but she's also a tuner. There's so much versatility going on in just a single card. It's actually insane. So with the return of the Fafnir, or with the return of the Diviner, it's going to be really interesting to see where the deck works. So right now we are focusing on a fairy build, but there are like a lot more applications this card has. For example, you can play Hulk of Firebricks now, so there are things that you can do with it. Do know that you are locked with the Drytron. Like lock that you cannot summon or special summon monsters that can be normal summoned. So there are some workarounds, but it's going to be really interesting. And the Drytron Mubeta Fafnir, I think that's the correct name, is actually just broken unsummoned footage burial at Drytrons. You don't need to play Curious anymore and get your Ancient Life, so it's actually insane. It's going to warp the deck back to fairies and make it just more hyper consistent than it already was. So. Yeah, this deck is going to be huge.
Do you think that it's going to implement the Megalith engine, because that was considered like a secondary action or like a backup engine that Drytrons typically played before they decided they're just going to go full out fairies?
Yeah, I think that Fool is just a very broken card. Fool is just ridiculous, and Bethor is also quite good. It gives the deck something to do with rituals, because like for Drytrons to work, so the deck works with like the two dynamics, right? You have the rituals and you ritual summon, and you have the Drytrons themselves. But in order to make the Drytrons work, you have to have like rituals to get that working. But if you only play rituals to discard them, that's not really good. So your rituals have to do something. But that's really difficult because there are hardly good Drytrons or rituals in the game.
Mhm.
There's no ritual that just negates something, right? There just isn't. So you cannot like end on a ritual monster for your end board because like what are you gonna summon? So Fool's interesting because he can summon better. So Fool's one of the very few ritual monsters that does something. So like leaving a Ben 10 on the field, not that good. Leaving a Natasha on the field, not that good.
Mhm.
Leaving a Herald on the field, which are the few cards that negate, is pretty good. So I think that the main focus will just be the fairies for now, because you can just summon Herald of Ultimateness, and that can just negate everything you want.
Mhm.
But Fool is definitely not a card to be like. It just synergizes so well with the deck because he has 500 attack and he can get Ben 10 back. So that's definitely something to look to in the future. But I'm sure that the day one build that we're gonna have will be like very different from the week one build that we end up already, let alone like 5 weeks after that.
Mm-hmm. And you know, with this new build, we saw from your last video with the fairy Drytons, we saw a lot of like pre-prep started to make its appearance in that deck. And I remember in that video he said, if you resolve pre-prep, you pretty much win the game. Do you think that that could be implemented into Drytrons after we get the new set in?
Pre-prep is a good card, but I'm not sure if we're gonna. It's like add a ritual monster and a ritual spell that lists ritual monster, which alone is a +1.
Mhm.
But what if I told you that the deck is inherently broken enough to not have to play that? Because it is. It's not necessary to play that. We're not even playing preparation right now, so
Mhm.
it's a good card and it could work. But I'm still not sold on the Herald of Perfection. It is. She's
Can you
all
can you
those
explain?
heralds.
Can you explain more why, like, you don't think that we're gonna need preparation of rights or pre-prep moving forward with the Drytron deck?
So we're gonna have like the Viner searching the Benton and the Benton search the rest already. So and the only ritual monster that we'll be ending on is Herald of Ultimateness.
Mhm.
And Herald of Ultimateness is above level 7. So you cannot search that with prep, and you also cannot search it with pre-prep. And Ultimateness is just a better perfection. So why would you play perfection if you can just summon Ultimateness?
Mhm.
That's kind of how I look at it.
Yeah, and we saw that deck list that you profiled actually had two like the regular like Herald of Perfection rather than running like the Perfectionist because it was able to search about by
I
pre-prep.
think for a deck list right now, without Diviner or Fafnir, you definitely need the additional fairy access. So I 100% agree with Sha playing it right now. But for future deck lists, I don't think it's necessary to play this direction anymore.
Do you think the deck has like top tier capability once it gets the new support?
Yeah, it's gonna be tier 1, if not 0.
Definitely. And I really hope you're right too, because I have my old Drytron deck kind of like rotting in my backpack right now, and I haven't touched it ever since it got hit. So I'm hoping you're right, because I'd love to revive that deck because I love the way it plays.
It's literally tier 1 right now. There's just no representation. I truly believe that, actually. That's not even me joking around. This deck is actually 100% tier 1, but there is no one playing it. If you look at the last like 6 extravaganzas that happened, or there were 3 in Europe, then 3 before that, so that's 6, and then there were 2 in America. So the last 10 extravaganzas, there might be even more. There were only 4 Drytron or 5 Drytron players, and like over all the events. And I played it twice. Suffer played it twice, and the one other guy was Niels from the Benelux, but he played like a terrible list. And on the first extravaganza, I topped. Suffer got 9th place, so that's not a top, but technically it is. And on the second extravaganza, we both topped, and Niels didn't because his deck was not our list. So I actually think that this deck is honestly quite insane. I know that it's like you only have the results of two like of 2 tournaments, and it's just extravaganza. It's not even YCSs. But this deck is so wild. People are actually sleeping on it or not big brain enough to play it.
I like Drytrons because I love the way the deck can actually like grind through after the first turn. Its ability to be able to like fight through like floodgates and be able to just really pull the grind game out, and its versatility, which is a big reason why I love that deck. It's the play style that I like to have, and I hope that it retains that same play style moving forward, because we've seen decks take a completely different way of being played, like when they get like a rehashed or they get some like new support. Like we've seen DA have like a million different strategies.
What's gonna happen if you go first and you go to turn like 3 where you go again and you're not dead, then you will probably have won. It's just that easy.
Yeah. And I'm just excited to see how the Drytron deck will move forward once it gets this new support, because I know I'm getting a bunch of this new set, because I want this Drytron support to come back, because it just faded all of a sudden once we lost Benton down to 1, and then really I'd never seen anybody play a Drytron deck ever again in the meta, and I'm kind of hoping this kind of turns everything around.
Yeah, I probably, because now it's mainstream, I guess people are just like expecting it now. They should have just played it before as well. I mean, I won an extravaganza with it. Like, what more do you want me to do? Like, I'm fighting the fight. Where's the rest? You know.
Yeah, so let's hope that this new way of Drytrons is able to make the top tier again, because like we've seen in Salamangreats too, where it was like triple AD debug, and then once that got down to 1, people were starting to use like Flame Buffalo now as a replacement. Now that started to take its shape with Salamangreat decks, and now this could be a chance for us to see like the alternate strategy of Drytrons, kind of like with Megaliths being a part of it, and maybe like that new fairy support that's also included would maybe take center stage as well with supporting the deck.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what people are going to go and where people are going to go. I just want more people to think about the deck instead of just like watching my deck profiles. I just want people to play and learn, and that's why I do the deck profiles. You know, I hope to give people more insight about their deck and like let them think, and not just like, I don't know, keep watching and keep like improving with your deck.
And so speaking of deck profiles, that's what mainly your YouTube channel is like full of right now. Is there any other kind of content aside from the dueling other content creators that you plan to put up on your YouTube channel anytime in the near future?
I have nothing planned. I just got my new setup in my new house, so everything is now like stable, so there's a lot of things I can do. I just introduced back to Duel Season 2, and I'm not really planning on anything. I think I'm just like for now the flow is fine. Just like random videos in between, like the rating all band cards for the meme video, stuff like that. And with still extravaganzas going on and like the secondary invitational, there's a lot of things that are coming. And maybe I do hope to, like the revamped invitational qualifier is coming very soon, and I hope to top 4 that again. And if I do, I could do like a second road to the invitational, which might be cool, but that's all depending on like topping events and stuff. So
yeah, fair enough. And speaking of which, you've started to go on Twitch a little bit more now. Like you're actually a very newer Twitch streamer. So what gave you the decision to finally start putting content on Twitch?
It's only natural. I think it's the next evolution. YouTube is a great medium, but I just need more growth at this point. I'm only at 2.75k subs, which is a lot, don't get me wrong, but could be better. It always can be better. And I don't know, Twitch just felt natural. I've always wanted to stream, but I've never had the option. So now I finally have the option, and let's just go. I just wanted to see if I liked streaming, and on the day 1, I definitely did. So that was a lot of fun. And I'm just keeping going right now. So like tonight, I just got home from work, but I was like, you know what? Let's just do a stream. We're gonna get interviewed. We're gonna open the booster box we're gonna have some fun, and just like low key vibing, and that's all. It's just a lot of fun, and I'm not sure what the direction. I want to play more people on stream and stuff. So we're just figuring things out as we go. But right now, I'm just focusing on getting the affiliate mark.
I mean, that's just the natural thought to have when you start out with a YouTube channel or a Twitch stream, is just trying to feel out what direction like you want to go or whatnot. So
Like
that's so that's very natural to feel.
Yeah, I'm just taking things seriously. This YouTube thing has potential. There is definitely a living to be found in, and with the direction everything is going, the growth that I've been having is insane. We're almost at 3K subs. I went from like 1K subs a year to like 2K, 3K subs a year, and the year is like not even. There's like we could be at 4K at the end of 2021, which is insane because if you look at last year, that growth definitely was not there. So I'm just like trying to widen my audience. That's how you say it.
Have you been enjoying your streaming experience so far within the first week of being part of Twitch?
Yeah, it's been a roller coaster, definitely. Day one was really hyped. There were a lot of people. I had 50 people average, so that definitely messes with your head if on the second day you don't. But on the second day, we also had 50, 40 people average, which is also quite insane. I've gotten like 200 followers, which is way above normal, which is definitely something that I have to repeat in my head. It's not normal to have this many viewers or followers already on your very first day. Then yesterday, we started pretty slow. And that actually got into my head a little bit. No, I started with MBT dueling, and we had like 70 viewers, and it was like, oh yeah, this is actually pretty nice. Then the duel was over, and I wasn't really focusing on the stream, and I was doing some off things, and then the viewers just dropped, and that really got into my head. Like it actually kind of worked me up. I was like, oh my god, there are not enough viewers. What's going on? You have to let that go. But I'm like very critical. It's like, is it worth my time if I'm here for less than 10 people? That's like literally how I feel. And so that's something that I have to learn to work with, because it's not normal. Like we have 9 viewers right now, and I love each and every single one of the 9 of them. And that's honestly just fine. It's honestly just fine. It cannot always be at 50. It cannot always be at 1,000. It cannot always be at 800. It's, sometimes the video does well, sometimes the video doesn't. And it's just, I'm just here to have fun. And yesterday was a lot of fun. Like the end of the stream, I was supposed to go until like 12 to 1, but eventually I stayed until 3 because we were actually having so much fun. I was crying, laughing multiple times with everyone that was in chat. And that just felt good. Like after the stream was done, I was very satisfied, very happy. And then it hit me like, no, it doesn't really matter as long as we're having fun. So I'm just going to aim to do that from now on.
And that's been like a struggle with a lot of streamers that like start out, they get like a couple numbers here, and then they're just maybe streaming to like 2-3 people tonight, like for a night, and then they just get really like degraded. They get really like demoralized, and it can get really tough having to like just stream to just like a couple people. So as we see, we just got 60 more just pop in, so that's nice. But
shoutouts to Suffer White Joe, my partner in crime. Sam, thank you so much for the host.
But it can be demoralizing to just like stream to about 2-3 people a night, so you really have to keep your spirits up and just know that you're just starting out small, and hopefully if you keep at it you can get like bigger and bigger and better. Like it's like both our channels, they're growing right now as we speak, so you really have to just go through the grind of being able to just get more and more subs as you go along. And
my friends and followers help me a lot. They actually help me. So Suffer just hosted, for example. Suffer is my partner in crime, one of my best friends, and he just tanked out someone because he talked trash about Suffer. It's actually really funny. But no, Suffer has been streaming for such a long time, and he did the days with like under 10 viewers, and now he does the days with like 20 plus, which is insane growth. And he motivates me, and he always reminds me, don't look at the numbers, it doesn't matter, just do your thing and have fun. And he definitely motivates me to keep going, and he was a huge inspiration for my own stream, and he helped me out so much. So definitely go and check him out. And much love to that guy, and thank you for the host once again.
I think that's a really important point to make, is that that a lot of people just, like, again, they just look at the numbers and then they get all upset, they get depressed because, like, they're not getting the attention they would like to get. But that's the thing. Like, when you start developing like a quality product and you start to get noticed, like, they will come to you, but you just have to have the patience. It's kind of like you and I, again, like we're growing YouTube channels and whatnot. Like, we're trying to get our name out there. We're not as famous as obviously some of the other guys that are out there, like Simo, Farfa, or Team Sam, but it's a growing process, and we've all been there before in a sense.
Yeah, like everybody wants 1 million subscribers, right? But
Yeah.
But guess what? You cannot just snap your fingers and get 1 million subscribers. You have to work for it. It's just the reality. So yeah.
It really is, and that's what why, like, we see like so many people kind of like fail when they try to go into like YouTubing or Twitch streaming, is that like they just get demotivated right off the bat. But like, you got to go through this grind right now. I mean, I think I started my podcast roughly like 10 months ago, roughly around that. I might probably gained about maybe like 400, 500 subs, but that it's a slow, steady growth. I mean, I can't, again, as you said, like, we can't expect like 1 million subs just like that, like what everyone else has. Like, it's got to be slow, steady, and you might catch your break here and there. Like, some people might give you a shout out, and that might like boost your channel a little bit, but you can't always get that. And you also have to offer something that everybody wants on the other side of things too. Like, people aren't just going to sub to you just because you're that person. People are going to sub to you because they also want like good quality content out of you. And if you don't supply that, then you're not going to last long in the YouTube business if you're just going to try to go by other people's names and whatnot.
Exactly. Definitely. Yeah, you have to work it for yourself. There's a lot of things that you can do to improve your own stuff, which should be your main focus.
Mm-hmm.
But it's all about yourself and your mental game and your strategy. That's what I believe.
Mm-hmm. Was there any other advice that you would give to a lot of the other people out there that are trying to like get better at like YouTubing, or try to develop their brand a little bit more to help them keep in the game, because it's a very tough game to be a part of in the YouTubing business?
Yeah, so I think that the first rule is there has to be something someone wants to view. Like, you're not going to be able to put out King Scarlet, right?
Yes, of course. Yeah,
yes.
Mr. King of the Yu-Gi-Oh skits. Yeah.
Exactly. He makes Yu-Gi-Oh skits, which is already a niche market, and he plays appliancers, and it's a running meme on the channel. He plays appliancers. And like last week, I watched his appliancer deck profile. Now, who in their right mind would watch an appliancer deck profile? Like, nobody cares, right? This deck does nothing. This isn't even on the tier scale. That's how bad it is. But he makes the video. It was super entertaining to watch. Like, I on it and I just kept watching until the end. I just kept watching. It was so interesting. Like, it's all about your strategy, your build, your ideas. I think that you should work on your branding as a person and your branding as a channel a lot. Something to keep you focused. Don't just make haha deck profile. Like, that doesn't work. Don't go to locals and just do the deck profile. That doesn't work. There are 1 million channels that just go to locals and do deck profiles. Even I go to local and do deck profiles, but even in my own, I do my own deck profiles in a very specific way to make them my deck profiles. Very specific way. These are all things that I thought about. You cannot achieve that much without thinking about it first. Like, my entire channel and my entire brand is built on the strategy that if I am everywhere, they cannot do anything else except like subscribe, watch, or follow. That's my entire strategy. I'm on Coder stream, and on Farfa stream, and in Ninmim's chat. I'm everywhere on other channels as well. I call up with other streamers, and I do that because I like it, but I do it because it's part of the strategy as well. Like, I'm making friends along the way because I like people and I like making friends. I'm very social, but these are things that you have to work for. And like, someone in chat stepping me, you're telling me my random Edo Pro replays won't gain a lot of viewers if I don't have people. This is exactly the strategy. People often mistake to be the next Farfa, but copy Farfa and nothing else. But that's already done. You have to focus on your own strengths and make that work and be your own personality. Like look at someone like Zara, who is doing a great job of just being herself. Look at someone like Don Juan, who embraced the meme and became Don Juan. She wasn't before the 333, let me tell you that. He did all that. He did the work and he thought it out, and it works.
And that's what we're kind of seeing, especially from Zara, for example, that she calls herself the fifth rate duelist. She's not like the greatest player, but like as we've seen her, like I've seen her like play more and more and more. She's actually become like very skilled, and I'm sure that she could probably beat about at least 80% of my locals like licking split if I ever brought her to mine. And like she's like vastly improved in the game. I don't know if that she can really run with that gimmick of fifth rate duelist anymore, because she's actually becoming like really good at the game now. And
I feel like the meme on her Twitter. That she was changing her username from like fifth rate to third rate, like according to each big win. It was really funny.
Yeah, I think she was telling me that too when I had her on my podcast as well, that she might have to change that name just because she's seeing that improvement. But that's her gimmick, that's her draw kind of thing. She's going from the quest of like this low tier player and like trying to build herself up kind of thing. And like having like a gimmick can like really help you put yourself over the top. It gets you away from like the sea of like people who just do those like local deck profiles, like as you said, like they can easily get lost in the mix because there's like a million of them out there who do that, and you have to find a way to kind of differentiate yourselves from everybody else in a sense.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And then for you in the case, like you kind of started off with the memes of the sub terror, and then you decided to like kind of run with that for a bit, but then you started to branch off now and doing all these deck profiles and started dueling with all these other content creators that you really started to take into your own. But you still stick with a gimmick sometimes, as when you go back and visit the sub terror deck here and there when you
I think that's
when
like
asked.
Personality, right? People recognize you for like playing X, and I think it's also about embracing the memes and like discovering each other. Like there's so much that you can do, which is like if I upload a sub-terror deck profile on my channel, it will get a lot of views. Doesn't matter what I do, doesn't matter if I promote it, it will just get a lot of views because there are a lot of people that are still here just for that. And that's just like magic, that's how it's supposed to go. But there's more magic in making people watch other stuff, and that's kind of the difficult thing.
That can definitely be a tough thing too, because like when you branch out to other stuff, people go there to your channel expecting something specific. So if I were to start putting up different stuff on my channel, like some people may not take to it, some people might. It depends, because like people would go to my channel for like a podcast, and maybe people will come to your channel for like a really detailed deck profile or like a really good like content creator match for example. So it can be really tough for kind of branching out.
Yeah, exactly. You've seen Distant Coder doing like streams online of like random games, and he's doing pretty well, but it's so difficult. It's actually so difficult.
It can be, because he's probably pulling in numbers, but maybe it's not the exact numbers that he would have liked, or for his other streams, because you're appealing again to like another niche audience in a sense that like sure I might follow Distant Coder stuff, but maybe I don't really care for Minecraft, and if he streams Minecraft, it's like, well, do I really want to watch Minecraft, even though like because it's not my thing? Because Yu-Gi-Oh is my thing. Like just an example for
that is how it works.
Yeah, exactly that. So it can be tough, really, going into new territory. But if you can really find like a market for people who really want to it, then that can be something you could explore as well. So there's nothing wrong with trying new stuff. It's just a matter of knowing like what can work and what doesn't.
Exactly. Yeah, that's find your own groove, find your own way. Try to be like innovative, even though that's very difficult in this scene. But try to make it work, and definitely work for it. There are a lot of videos I could have done way better, which is something that I always look back to. And I don't look back at it with regret, but I look more to the future of how to improve and learn from that.
Well, a good tip I learned from Team APS, and even just when I went to journalism school, is that like the first video may not always be the best one, but it's so long as the next video that you do is that you always work, you always put a little more effort into it each video as you go along, and try to get better and better over time, rather than trying to be like really good in one straight shot. Progressively work on it. It's going back to like the grind, rather than expecting something completely immediate.
Yeah, exactly. I like that saying. Like always, make the next video the best video.
Yeah.
It's pretty solid advice.
Yeah, it really is, and it's and people will start to take notice of like the little changes that you make if they keep following your channel. Like they will see it, and then eventually, when you look back from when you started maybe like a year ago, you see, oh, like I can't believe I've changed my channel so much. It's like it's really a lot better than what it was before. So, you just really have to keep at it. And like I know I've already seen my channel kind of like change a little bit over time as well, and I'm sure you've kind of seen it the same way too.
Yeah, definitely agree.
Mm-hmm. So so I think I've really first heard of your name when they had the kind of like the remote duel extravaganza, or rather like the remote duel invitational, I should say, and you were part of the Europe brand of it, and you came top 4 with it. Yeah, I believe you ran Red Eyes Eldritch. Can you tell me more about the experience you had being in the European remote duel invitational? Because that's something that not a lot of people got to be a part of.
16 to be exactly. Yeah,
Oh,
to be exact.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I think you came top 4, didn't you?
I got into the top 4. Yeah, very skillful playing on my side.
Yeah.
Very skillful of my opponent. How he beat me as well, and yeah, it was a very very wild ride.
Yeah. So how did you get the invite, first of all, to be a part of that tournament?
So it's a very difficult system. So you have the extravaganzas, and back then you also had the Yu-Gi-Oh days.
Mm-hmm.
And if you either top 2 the Yu-Gi-Oh day, or if you got into the top 8 of an extravaganza, you got an invite to the remote invitational qualifier. These qualifiers were like everyone in Europe could qualify, and it also works like that in America, I think. So at the remote invitational qualifier, there were 4 organized in Europe.
Mm-hmm.
There was one for each like time zone, even though we only have 2 time zones. There was one for London / Scotland / Ireland. There was one for West Europe. There's one for East Europe, and then there's one for Italy and the rest. Which is the very nice region, and I'm happy I wasn't in. So I was in the West Europe region, which was of course the most participated one, because it never can be easy, right? Imagine. And this was just like an extravaganza. It was just a tournament, and yeah, that was and if you got into the top 4 of each one of those, like, and then you got invited for the remote invitational the remote invitational itself, and that was a live streamed event.
Okay.
So you had to get invited for the invitational, and at the invitational you got invited for the thing itself.
Mm-hmm. So how was your experience being able to like play on such like a big stage for Yu-Gi-Oh, kind of online, especially since like we've had this pandemic where we haven't been able to play like in real life duels, but you got to play at least like on camera, at least to like a worldwide audience.
Yeah, I always wanted to have like that experience. I just didn't expect it to be from my bedroom, which is, yeah. Can you be? You can't really be salty or like upset, right? But it's not what you dreamt it to be. It was a lot of fun, but it's just so much different from IRL events. You're just sitting at home. That just kind of makes it a little bit different. But it was fun. So a week before the event started, we got our goodies. We got like a huge goodie bag, which was insane. They really spoiled us with that.
Oh, nice.
It's actually like 5 playmats, an insane amount of dice sets, which are really, really expensive. There was actually so much that they gave us. They gave us a tripod with a camera that I am using on stream as well. And yeah, that was a lot of fun. And then like the Thursday, they were like doing the tech rehearsals, and that was like the first time that you had like contact with the team, and they were just telling you everything. And then Saturday, the day itself, it was kind of weird. So this is a top 16 event. There were out of each 4 regions, 4 people were sent. So I got 2nd place at the remote invitational qualifier. 2nd place got me the invite, a nice playmat, and a very nice booster box that I'm not angry about. And then at the event itself, it was like just top 16. It's just top cut. I thought it would be a Swiss event and then top 4, but it wasn't. So on Saturday, I played a match. That's it.
Just a match.
I played 1 match.
Wow. Oof.
So winning that match gets you to day 2. Losing that match gets you out of the tournament. And there are very, very, very big stakes at this event, might I tell you. So each of the participants got the goodie bag, which is worth 500 to 600 euros, maybe even more. That is it. Then you also get the equipment that you get to keep in Europe, because America has to send it back. We got to keep our stuff, which is really, really, really nice. And then what did I want to say? But if you got into the top 4, you got additional prizes. Now everyone in the top 4 got the exact same prizes. Number 1 did get a trophy as well, so who cares about the trophy? But the top 4 all got the prize card. The Duel Dragon, the Duel Link Dragon. This is a 3,000 plus euro card, so there are quite some stakes, you know.
Yep.
So day 1 was just a match, and like everyone, the bracket. So I was looking up my opponent, and I know that he was playing Paleozoic, and I saw his list, and I saw he was from some obscure country, and I knew, like, you just know, like, sometimes you, like, if someone tells you, like, yeah, I'm from America, like, you can play anything, right? But if someone tells you, like, yeah, I'm from I don't know, I don't actually remember where he was from, but like I saw his list and I knew it wasn't improved, right? You just know his card list. I saw. Like, kudos to Adi Porka, who was the opponent. He was a really cool guy. He topped with Paleozoics, which is insane to do. He doesn't have a Zeus. He doesn't have an Ice Dragon Prison. He's playing like his budget deck, right? And I just knew that it wasn't going to improve that much. So he did in fact play that deck at the event. He did in fact play Paleozoic. He did in fact not have Ice Dragon Prisons. Couldn't get them in time or borrow them from anyone because it was like obscure country. And I played Eltic Dragoon. I summoned Dragoon twice. That was the game. That was just how easy. I 2-0'd him in 25 minutes. And that's very unfortunate for him. Very unlucky because his deck is very good against stuff like Zodiac, stuff like that. But it's very terrible against my deck. So I got really lucky on my round 1. And that was it. That was day 1.
really short day 1. I know you had I think you had a feature match too for... I think it was the day 2. You had a feature match for that event.
Yeah, so that entire event was live streamed. Everything is also, watchable on the official Yu-Gi-Oh Facebook page or YouTube page. So everything was live streamed. We had like intros and stuff, with like our characters made. So everything was casted and stuff by Marcello Barberi, who cannot pronounce my name, which is really, really funny. So yeah, you can actually see my duels live on there.
I think he kept saying your name was pronounced Marin, but I don't think he ever really tried to.
Marlene. He did a lot of variations, but it's not Marijn like it should be. But very hard for Italians to pronounce Dutch names. Who knew?
Yeah, because I think there's also like a number of letters that they actually don't use in the Italian language. It's same for Vietnamese, which is what I am. There's a lot of like English letters that Vietnamese people don't use. So so when my parents try to pronounce some certain words, it can get really difficult for them too. So I can understand the regional dialect having a problem.
I really don't care as well. It was just very funny that he couldn't say it. So then, that was just it. I was there for like 30 minutes and then I left and that was my day. So I don't even know what I did for the rest of the day. Just kind of hang and watch the stream because I wanted to see what my opponents were playing.
Yeah.
Then, like on the second day, I played one more match against someone, which I also like 2-0'd, which is really funny. And then I was into the top 4, so I had my prize card. So I was pretty happy. And then I lost because my opponent opened a Lightning Storm, Duster, Triple Tactic Talents, full combo. Yeah, that was very nice. Yeah, he outplayed me at there was no combination of cards I could have had in my deck that would have made me win. There was no combination of cards. I could not have won that game.
Yeah.
So yeah. But I got my prize card, so I really don't care.
Do you still have that prize card right now?
Well, do you actually think I already have it? This event was in March. It's now May. It hasn't been sent to me yet.
Oh, okay, so you're still waiting on it then?
I'm still waiting on it. I just received my support for the Invitational today.
And what did you get exactly?
Yo, bro. I was supposed to get. So I got my remote invitational playmat. This is a beauty, man. I'm gonna show this off to the stream.
Yeah.
This is Alistair the Invoker with like Invocation, Mekaba, Kaliga, goodies, Marjin, Purgatrio, and Mechalankia. It was very, very nice.
Very
playmat.
pretty mat. Yeah. Very pretty.
Very expensive. Yes, we like money. So I will probably just sell this because I have a million playmats. Then they were supposed to get me. Where's Cositus? It's not there. No, Cositus is on the Art of Invocation, right? Yeah, he's there. It works. Doesn't matter. So they were supposed to send us a Blue Eyes OTS. Didn't. Field Center didn't get to it. They were supposed to send me Phantom Rage, which is a pretty good set, which has like Zeus and a lot of staples, you know. And can you guess what we got?
Oh, you got the Blazing Vortex, if I recall.
Yeah, exactly.
The tweet that you put out. Yeah.
Exactly. I got Blazing Vortex, which is a very nice set that only has Prosperity in it, which I will probably not pull.
Yeah.
So I did make an angry tweet about that. Just kind of, it took like every other region of that event already has their price support except West Europe. It took like the longest time ever. There was hardly any communication with the French store. And like Konami was also messing up, like sending the stuff over. And now the stuff is finally here, and they send us the wrong stuff. So I'm just kind of tilted. I also don't have my price card yet, so I'm just like sitting here, like, what are you guys doing? Come on, I'm back to locals, and you guys can't even send over the correct booster box. But yeah, I did send an upsetty email to Konami, so I hope that they will respond. That at this point they have my email address. On their hotkey, so that's really nice.
Do you know if any of the other participants in that invitational got their prize support?
No, nobody has anything. We're in the exact yeah.
Oh, okay. So we don't even know if they even got like the wrong support that you did yet.
So it actually makes sense. I don't want to shit talk Konami that much. Yeah. Or trash talk them, I should say. So they are based in UK, which already complicates things because Brexit. To bonus that, the UK COVID handling system is not amazing, and they were actually locked out of their office. They couldn't go into the office. The price cards are in their office in a safe, which makes a lot of sense because this is like tens of thousands of euros worth of value. So it's actually in a safe, and there are only 2 people that have the key to that safe. Also makes sense. It sounds kind of memey and sketchy, but this is just very high. If you are an employee at that office and you see one of those cards laying around, like you get paid half the amount of that card for your paycheck, right? I wouldn't resist. I wouldn't. So it makes a lot of sense. But like they just couldn't get into their office, and it took a while for the right guy to come back. But it's just a mess at this point.
Yeah, I don't know if it's in North America's end, especially since I'm from Canada, and like the North American places located in like southwest United States, which is like completely the opposite end of where I'm living right now. And like we have a lot of like border problems too when it comes to mailing out and getting out, like crossing borders between Canada and US. So I don't know if any of the Canadian players myself that had the same problem as you have, but I can understand how they'd be really upsetting on your end that you didn't get quite the product that you wanted.
Yeah, it is what it is. At the end of the day, I am dependent on them. I actually moved a couple of weeks ago, and the price card was supposed to be paying for my brand new computer. So I kind of, had that in the back of my head. I don't need money for a computer. I will get the price card, sell it, and then get the computer. But unfortunately, they didn't send it, so I had to like sell some cards or something. I don't know. Work for my money. Imagine doing that. But that is what it is. And now I get the price card, and I don't need the money anymore, so I might as well just keep it at this point. Use it as a field center or use it as a token in Magic the Gathering, which is something I will probably switch to because their price support is better. I don't know. I haven't figured out the details yet.
Jeez, that's quite the flex to put on somebody if you use a prize card as a field center. I mean, I would be taken aback a little bit too, and I know that psychology can play like a big part in this game. So like maybe people might be a little bit distracted if they play if you put that prize card out there.
Yeah, come on, that sounds funny. But the Magic players are like too dumb to realize that it's an expensive card.
Mm-hmm. And not a lot of players, get the touch even a prize card. Like I have,
Exactly.
but I never owned one before, so
I
it
owned
can
one
be
before.
really
Funny.
daunting. Yeah, what other ones have you owned?
I bought the Chaos Emperor Dragon, the Chaos Dragon, Armageddon, whatever it's called.
Yeah.
Because it was fun. I bought it from a vendor in the Netherlands for 750 euros because I wanted to play Thunder Dragon Lamau. I won a lot of cash at casinos back then,
Yep.
and I got a lot of cash at work because I work at a pub, Irish pub, and I got a lot of tips. And every time I got money, I just put it in a jar. And eventually, I had like a lot of money, and I was just like, let's just buy the card because it doesn't really matter. It's like putting it on your bank account, right?
Yeah.
Like you could just sell it later. It's not going to devalue. It's just going to rise in price.
Yeah.
So I bought that card because it was funny, haha. So then I went to locals with that like €1,000 card, which is really really funny. I had that for like half a year, but eventually I just sold it.
Mm-hmm. I had a funny experience once with the Chaos Emperor, like Armageddon Dragon. I was playing at a regional. It was probably like maybe around round 7, and I was sitting next to Jesse Cotton, one of the most famous players in the world right now. And he was playing, I think he was playing a Thunder Dragon deck, but it involved the Chaos Armageddon. But his Chaos Armageddon was in the face up in the extra deck, and my elbow's right beside it. I'm like, I almost elbowed it. I'm like, oh my god, like I don't want to. So I didn't want to touch it. So I had to move my chair over a little bit because there's the last thing I want to do is damage that card because like Jesse and I were friends and we know each other personally. Like there's no way in heck I'm going to be like hurting that card in any way. I don't be responsible for it. So I had to move away just a little bit so I wouldn't have to touch that card.
It's funny, yeah. It's once you own it, it like destroys that entire image. Like when you play it in the deck as well, people are like, don't you have a double sleeve? And I'm like, I really don't care. It will not get like damaged easy. Like how many of your cards are damaged? Like come on, honestly. A funny story. It doesn't really imply me, but it is a funny story.
Go ahead.
Old Dutch head judge when he was playing competitive in 2006.
Mm-hmm.
One of his very good friends won one of the bigger Yu-Gi-Oh tournaments and won Cyberstein. So the Dutch head judge from back then was like playing tournaments in like Germany, and he borrowed the Cyberstein. But back then that card was like insane. It was in like the random Stein decks, and it was like hyper expensive, very overpowered. Like there were like only 5 copies in Europe at the time, but he was borrowing the one just because he could. And every time like he summoned the card, people were like, this is not a real card. So a judge had to come over and verify. So at a certain point in the tournament, the judge had like come over like 5 times to verify. So at a certain point, the judge team actually, like some additional staff, that's what he told me at least. Like he had someone stand behind him until the point that he summoned the Cyberstein. And then the judge just bent over, said, this is a real copy, and then walked away. It was the most funny story ever.
Yeah. Oh, I remember that card when it first came out. There was just this whole hubbub about it. I think it sold for roughly like 25,000 like American dollars, and then that never happened. And then I think it resold for I think like 7,000-8,000 American dollars. I forget the actual number, but it's amazing how much like value these prize cards can really get now. But nowadays, I feel like there's a lot more easier ways to be able to get prize cards now that. Konami's really taken over ever since like Upper Deck got kicked to the curb and Konami really took over it.
Internet as well. You just know where these cards are at this point. Like you can just find someone who has these cards. It's not like that difficult anymore. Like when I bought my prize card, I actually gave me like a handful of them and said you can pick out the best condition you want. And I was like, okay, here are 12 Armageddons.
Wow,
that was something else, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And how many prize cards have you actually owned in your life?
Only one, only the Armageddon. I regret selling it, but it is what it is.
Yeah, and hopefully looking for a couple more once, especially when things open up for you.
Yeah, I hope I can get like some actual good prize cards because Dual Dragon and Dueling Dragons is all garbage.
Mm-hmm. So let's assume that everything is going to open up back soon for you, because especially in the Netherlands, as you said earlier, that it's pretty much you're almost pretty much open up again. Like, are you going to like really go hard at the game and try to win more events and win more championships?
That's the aim. I want to be a Dutch national champion.
Mhm.
I really want to be that. And before COVID was a thing, like everything was going up for me. It was getting better and better and better. That COVID happened and everything just froze. But I do think that I like kept my pace up pretty good.
Mhm.
And yeah, I think that I'm still ahead of the game, and I think I'm still improving. I think I'm still learning. I think I'm still getting better. And the Remote Invitational, it's not a YCS. It's roughly similar, but only roughly. It's just not like it's a credential, but like nothing like a top 4 YCS. It's just different. And I do aim to get back in the game. Regionals in the Netherlands are easy, and almost should not be counted anyway. But I do want to win the Dutch National Championship. I do want to top my first premier event. That's definitely all on the radar. And it may still be a little bit unrealistic, but I do want to go to Worlds.
Yeah, and I'm sure that everybody does want to go to Worlds, but of course, only a select.
Yeah, I think that there's like a difference, right? Everybody wants to go to Worlds, but like there's a difference in wanting it and actually wanting to achieve it. And I actually want to achieve it, and I want to put in the work, and I want to go there.
Yeah. That's a really fair point and distinction to make, because of course, as I said, everybody wants to go to Worlds, but then there's so few people that actually work to go towards Worlds.
Imagine going to like having that mentality, I want to go to Worlds slow, and then just like being there and not being able to play out your deck 100% correctly. Like it's just like difference to like putting in the work. I'm not saying I'm there yet. I don't want to be like arrogant or something, but it is something that I want to achieve and think is relatively possible within the next 3 years.
Oh yeah, so it's the national championships. The WCQs are, I think they're a little bit different as they are in Europe as they are compared to North America, because North America it just combines Canada and the United States together, and we just have one championship, and that's it, and then we go to Worlds. Whereas opposed to Europe, you have like every single individual country, I believe, has their own national championships, and then there's like a European national championship.
Yeah, so it's the
can you
same
explain
as
that?
yours. It's the same as yours, but just named differently.
Oh, okay.
So we have the same systems. You have to qualify for your for the North American national championship, right? You have to qualify for that. So we have to qualify for the European championships.
Okay.
So we have regionals. There you can qualify for the European championships. You have nationals. That's where you also just qualify for the European championships. Then we have Euros, and that's when you go to Worlds. But it's just the same as your North American thing. It's just named Euros. And I'm not sure if you have anything that like closely represents our nationals, but it's just like a once a year big regional. That's how you can basically see it.
Yeah, okay, because there's like I know I've had some confusion before and a lot of people have had some about how like European nationals WCQs works, just because like there's like so many countries in Europe as opposed to North America. You've got about pretty much like 3 countries that you only have. That's pretty much United States, Mexico, and Canada. Although even some people would call Mexico maybe a part of Latin America. Who knows? But as far as Europe goes, like there's a ton of countries over there, so they might have like a little bit more complicated in kind of figuring out how to work their nationals.
It's really easy. Like what CSs matter and European championships matters, but like national championships is just like a bonus. It's not a premier event, but it's like cool to be your national champion, right? That's all you want to be.
Of course. I mean, no, I'm sure everybody would love to have a title of national champion before. So I'm sure that's definitely crossed everybody's mind, at least to get that title. And you've been close to. You've had 3 national championship tops at least, and the top 16, but just couldn't quite get up to the.
Imagine getting out of the top 16, right? Jesus.
Yeah, I know it's. It can be a curse sometimes, but like so many people would just kill just to even get in your spot to be able to top that far.
Exactly. I got my first stop was lucky. I was a terrible player with a terrible deck, but I topped somehow. But all after that was pretty deserved, I think. I like to pretend they are.
Have you ever played in any other continents for Yu-Gi-Oh? Like
I
particularly
have
like North
never
America?
played in any other continents.
No.
I wanted to go to America for, I think it was the one at Niagara Falls, the YCS over there.
Okay, yes. That's
Then
actually it's actually a Canadian event, mind you. Although there's a
oh,
Canadian,
really?
yes, but there's Niagara Falls. There's an American version, like end of it, and there's a Canadian end of it. It's like
Yeah.
joint at the hip kind of thing.
The
So
idea was there were two YCSs that were relatively close. So the idea was would go to America for 3 weeks. That was the idea.
yeah,
And then just get like two YCSs. But that plan never actually got much more than off the ground because COVID happened, and like, okay,
yeah,
I guess we're not going.
yep, yeah. I'm about a 2.5 hour drive away from Niagara Falls myself, so we were
Oh, nice.
a lot of us are really ashamed that we couldn't get to go to that event because COVID happened around March, and that usually happens around October for that event.
Yeah,
So we were planning it months in advance.
I already booked the European Championships, but it never went through. I'm actually happy that it didn't went through. I would have liked to go, but it was a very bad venue.
Mm-hmm. And so even though you haven't actually been to North America or any other continent to play, like I know in your channel you've had a video where there's explaining the differences between North America and Europe when it comes to Yu-Gi-Oh. Have you noticed any differences at all between the two continents when it comes to playing?
There are some things that might be controversial that I do have an opinion about. Yeah.
Okay.
So first of all, like ever since the rule change, everything now is the same in Europe and America. Like we adopted American rulings.
Yeah.
None of the two were better. It would have just been nice to have one consistent ruling, which you have now, which is nice.
Mm-hmm.
But I do know that there are like much more good European players than there are American players. Which is not even that bad to say, I think. But we just have like a lot more big names. I generally think the average European player is better than the average American players. That's only because we have more players that are good all across Europe. So it's natural that the level around them is bigger. And if you have more people, you have a wider range, especially because we're also smaller. And I think we also have lesser players in total. So it's way easier for us to have a higher level than Americans. So I'm not saying like all Americans are garbage. Probably the higher percentage of good players is in America. But just because we have like the smallest number and like the best players, I think that we are a little bit above that.
Yeah.
Next to that, European players like to mess around way more than American players. American metas are all like very tier decks, met decked tier decks, and European events are just like, haha, I played Drytron next day. Just something entirely different, which I don't really see happening in America a lot. But that might be my sources that reveal that to me.
Well, what we've also seen in like the World Championships, we've never had an American World Champion. We've had a Canadian World Champion, but never an American. But we've had also like multiple European World Champions that have like won Worlds before. So that could be, an argument that you could make for why you believe that American players are, or rather European players are all around better players than American players in a sense, because we haven't seen a World Championship from an American, and that's in that case.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not saying Americans are bad at all. Definitely not. Just saying that Europeans are averaging better. But I am kind of biased because I play at a local where Rafael Nev and Joshua Oshers attend to. So that's kind of maybe a little bit biased too, because I just expect like everyone is great because everyone I play with is great. But if I go to like one different local, then I could play like 5 tiers below tier 1, and then I can still win the local.
Yeah. And Nevin's a huge player in his own right too. So if you're being around him a lot, I'm sure that your game is going to be like immediately upped when you get to play against him.
Yeah.
But I've also played against like OCG players before too, when they've came over from Asia over to North America, and I played them in like big events just on the side and whatnot. And their card choices are definitely a lot different from what the North American players could make.
That's easy to explain. Their format is fake.
Yeah.
Everyone always talks about the OCG highly. It's just all fake. They don't have events. They have one YCS a year and it's single elimination.
Yeah, which
They
is
have, they
really hard.
have locals, then they have big locals, which is cool.
Mhm.
But you can just play random stuff every time. It doesn't really matter what you play over there. You can play random stuff with like 20 garnets, so you're only playing 4 rounds anyway.
Mhm.
I, everyone always looks at those and you're like, yeah, this is just so much better, so much more fun, but it's definitely not.
Yeah, and do you ever think that like if Japan ever got like these bigger events that then maybe like their meta would shift a little bit more just because we're seeing a lot of deck lists that are coming from like locals and you can kind of
People
go a little bit more wild.
mess with it much, yeah, definitely.
Mhm.
It would be better for them. It is interesting though that a lot of people of America or of Japan that go to Worlds. I'm not saying they're all like not good or like worse. It's just
Yeah.
their format is fake. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Then because all the players of Japan that go to Worlds are all like insane. They're all like hyper efficient Yu-Gi-Oh players that will probably win. Like their level is like through the roof. I don't know where they're playing because it's not in their format. Because if it is in their format, then why is this guy playing 12 Garnets in his deck? Like, it's just where are all the good players except at Worlds? That's why I think it's a fake format. It's
Yeah.
cool, it's interesting, it's fun. Go ahead and go. But Infernoids wins the first YCS, and bro, I don't know what happened.
Mm-hmm. Is that something that you would like to do sometime? Is maybe go to Asia and play
I would love
the
to
OCG film? Yeah,
I actually, I never really had plans to travel to Asia. There are a lot of people that do, but it did cross my mind. It would be fun. It would be fun to go to like a tournament over there and see how far I can get. That's something that I would definitely like. But I've heard some pretty bad things about like people from the West going to Asia and playing at tournaments and like generally being disrespected. I'm not sure if this is 100% correct, but these are some things that I heard. Like language barrier is pretty hard. Someone saying in chat, if you know the cards, it doesn't matter because you don't actually have to communicate Yu-Gi-Oh. Just tap the card,
yeah,
and you will know what's going on. But for example, if there is a card that you don't know, that's going to be a huge issue. Calling judges is a huge issue. Like you will automatically lose any judge call basically because you can't speak. So that's definitely something. And I don't speak Japanese, and I'm not planning on learning it. So
yeah.
there are a lot of variables. But I'm just not sure if we are welcomed over there. But it's something that I'm not really sure about.
Well, like language barriers can, there's the argument for both sides where it can be a problem or not. Because I've actually gone against like deaf players, so there's no words coming out of them at all, and you can't really speak to them.
Against an Italian player?
No, no, not yet.
Well, you're in for a treat, man.
What is it? What is it about them that you're getting at?
So Italians have an FTK, right? Like a built-in FTK. If you get into a rule call with an Italian, and then an Italian judge walks up, you lost a round. Congratulations. Yeah, no, it's just I've never really had bad experiences with language barriers in Yu-Gi-Oh. I've had opponents that I literally cannot talk to because we don't understand each other, but we still played out the match and it was quite fun and we actually laughed. But there are in Europe definitely issues with that. There are stories or things I've actually seen myself that were happening that were not good, to say the least.
Yeah. Well, first of all, to give a little background for Canadian history, like we have one province where it's been seceded by the French. So we speak both. Yeah, so we speak both Canadian. We speak English and French, but there's
French.
There's like French speakers here in Canada.
But do you speak French?
I can speak it partially fluent, but only because I actually studied it. Like we are mandated to learn it through until we get to high school at least, and then it's kind of optional from there. But at least like when I'm in like in middle school, like elementary school, like it's mandated to learn, and I decided to keep going forward with it. But there's a lot of my friends who detest French. But when we go over to this region in Canada, it's called Quebec, where they speak primarily French. There's been language barriers, and it's mostly come where there's like a rulings dispute. So like if the duel just goes like normal, it's fine. Language barrier typically isn't a problem. But when there's like a judge ruling, that's where things start to come into get problematic because there are some judges that don't know English or don't know French, something like that, and then like yet they have to explain it in like a different language, and then maybe they might try to sneak in other words that the other person doesn't know to kind of like, be secretive about it, that kind of thing. So that's where maybe a language barrier could be problematic in that sense. And in Europe, you guys are a lot more well adept at learning a whole different plethora of languages.
That's what you say, but I only speak Dutch and English.
Yeah.
Like I had the option to learn more, but like imagine like your problem with like speaking French, multiply it by 12 different languages, and then you have like a very nice tournament going on.
Yeah.
So we actually have the option in the Netherlands, at least, because we are not a third world country like some other countries are in Europe for some reason. We have the option to learn French and German in high school. And I believe that nowadays you also have a lot more options as well. But if you go to like friends is the word. They actually do not obligate you to learn English. They just don't have to learn English. Which is why a lot of people in French are hated throughout the community because they cannot speak English. And this might not have been something they actively chose. Like, for example, in my high school years, I didn't want to learn French. I didn't want to learn German. Now it would be really nice if I could speak those languages. I can speak them a little bit. I cannot speak them good at all. I would not be able to have conversation. I am able to read certain words, especially in cars, which is really nice. To generally understand. I can understand German if they don't speak fast. But like but at least learn English, right? Like I've had my English, I got that throughout the entirety of my high school. Like France and Spain and Italy, they just don't have that for some reason.
Oh, okay. Because I know at least a lot of Europeans are like well adapted at least English. Because I know that in speaking to a lot of Europeans, especially in Yu-Gi-Oh, they can speak it. But you also see it a lot in the media too, where like all these European. It's the joke where like the Americans really won't learn any other language. It's like if you come to our country, you gotta learn a language. But then when they go to any other foreign countries, like can anybody speak English here? And they don't really learn a lot. Maybe Spanish is probably like what Americans can learn, are a little bit more mandated to learn. I'm pretty sure, but that's how it is for Canada. But it's more French in that case. So I do like the mandate of learning at least another language. I find it really useful. Like I speak 3 languages myself, so I use them almost on a daily basis in a sense. So I find it very useful to have it. But I think it's a skill that it's nice to have, especially when you travel as well.
Definitely 24-year-old Tatsym agrees with you. 14 to 16-year-old Tatsym doesn't.
Yeah. Do you wish you could speak any other languages now?
Right now, I would love to speak German. I think that German is a beautiful language, not because it's beautiful, but just because of how it sounds and how rough it is. I would have loved to speak French, just because I want to understand French people. French is actually a gorgeous language on its own. That's actually beautiful. I would love to speak Italian as well, but I just cannot be bothered to speak other languages right now, except like English and Dutch. Like it's like the same thing with guitar. I would like to learn the languages, but I'm not gonna learn the languages.
Yeah, it's almost better if you were at least like taught at a young age rather than kind of learning it now.
It would just be nice to be introduced to it in a different way. It's like if you tell a kid you have to learn this, they're not gonna want to learn this, which is exactly what happened to me. I had no interest in French, so I don't want to learn French. Now I'm like seeing French people come up and around, and I go to events, and then it's just a whole different world. But, all those experiences all came way later.
Yeah. I'll do like one little quick story for myself about when it came to language. Is that I was judging an event, and there were two Vietnamese guys talking to each other, and they were talking about like selling cards to each other. And we all know that selling cards at an event is not allowed whatsoever, unless it's to a vendor. And they were talking about making a sale, and then I kind of popped over to them, and I told them, is like, you guys know I can speak Vietnamese, right? So I totally understood what you just said. I didn't get them in trouble or anything. I just kind of let them know, I was like, don't do that here. But it was a kind of like a surprise kind of moment for those two guys that I was able to catch trying to sell at the event.
Yeah, fair. That's actually pretty funny. Yeah,
it's funny. It's just, well, I mean, when I go to Europe, like if and when I get to go to Europe to play Yu-Gi-Oh, because I definitely want to do. There's a lot of places I want to visit, like Italy and France, for example, are two places I'd love to go to. My girlfriend definitely wants to go to Paris for one thing, and I'd love to explore like the European meta up there, and just and of course like do sightseeing. And I'm a big foodie as well, so I would love to visit Europe, and I'm sure you're eager to come to North America whenever things are open up and play an event here.
I've been in America before. It's a pretty cool country. I've been to Paris as well. It's not that good.
Not that good? Okay.
I dislike France a lot, but
okay.
It's definitely an experience to go, and I think it's better now than when I was there as well.
Yeah. Okay. And then what about the meta in the Netherlands right now? Like, how competitive would you compare to like say the rest of Europe?
Traps. Hope you like some traps.
Lots of traps.
Lots of traps, but not good traps, just bad traps.
Oh, okay. Like floodgates.
For example, or just like badly played out traps. It's also very cool. Mm-hmm. Someone in chat, player preference traps. That's actually amazing. It's actually amazing. That's exactly the overall level of if you do not count Raphael Neff and Joshua Oosters, me, Suffer Whitejoe, Bruce Wenzel. If you don't count those 5 specific people, then the total level is actually pretty low, and then it's actually pretty low. Yeah. We have a lot of people that just play decks. Don't think, just play decks. Mm-hmm. There's a lot that can be improved on. It's a very fun. People just play what they want. That's really nice. We have some people that are committing, though. There are some good people coming up in some very young talent, which is really, really nice to see. Just new players overall getting good with the game. Mm-hmm. But there's not really a meta. It's just like the top 8 is what the top 8 decides to play. That's basically what it comes down to.
Okay, fair enough. Well, I really hope that you can reach your goal of becoming a national champion in Europe, and I hope you can go far with it. I've always enjoyed like the content that you've been putting out, because I enjoy like the duels that you have with other people, and just looking at the current deck list, because I don't really touch with a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh nowadays just because of the whole pandemic, but I'm gonna pick it up once like things starting to clear up. And this is where like we're kind of in the state of the world right now, so I've been using your videos to kind of help really like get myself kind of prepared again, and especially with the Drytron deck.
Yeah, that's what they're for, man.
Putting that out. Exactly that. So I really appreciate that content you're putting out there. So I'm hoping I can like help put Drytrons like back on the map, because I really enjoyed that deck. And thank you again for having me on your Twitch stream. I really appreciate it, and thank you for being on my podcast.
Not a problem.
I had a lot of fun speaking with you. Any shout outs you want to give before I sign off?
Yeah, so definitely come hang out on twitch.tv/Tatsym. Come hang out on youtube.com/Tatsym. I will also be looking at your video for a couple of days to look through the comments. So if anyone has any questions, you can definitely ask them there, or come to my channel and ask them over there. And shout out to Suffer Whitejoe, one of my best friends, starting Twitch streamer and soon starting YouTuber, who definitely is a rising star, so you should definitely keep an eye on him as well. Mm-hmm. And next to that, just thank you for having me on. This was very interesting, and I had a good time.
Yeah, absolutely. Had a blast talking to you. Yeah, and if you have any people that you want to suggest to put on my podcast, then you can always message me off screen, and we can definitely go from there. But I appreciate it again, taking the time out and putting this on stream. So thank you again, and good luck with you in the future. And I hope you become a national championship, and we can finally meet face to face someday.
Yeah, I hope so too, man.
All right. Have yourself a wonderful night. Thank you. Have a wonderful night. Thank you so much.
Bye bye.
That we've seen the list of accolades before you, so we know that you're like, a lot about the game in the time that you've been here.
You've done your research. Jeez.
that's what a journalist is supposed to do. It's supposed to do their research and everything like that. So yeah, I got my dirt sheet on you for sure.